Thanks for joining us today. My name is Chris Soda. I am the owner of Junkyard Dog Extrication Training. We specialize in extrication training, specifically dealing with electric vehicle and electric vehicle training for first responders. You can check out our website at junkyarddogextrication.com. There you'll find a full listing of all the classes that we offer with a description, and you can get in contact with us, see our YouTube page, our Instagram page, and our Facebook page. So today we're going to add another video to this video series that we're doing on YouTube dealing with new vehicle extrication and electric vehicle extrication or electric vehicle training. This is going to be the Cutlass Dash Displacement, a step-by-step guide. We talked a little bit about this in the previous video, overcoming ultra-high strength steel, and how utilizing the Cutlass Dash Displacement, that's a great technique for overcoming ultra-high strength steel or for rapid extrication when we have reduced manpower or if we encounter electric vehicle fire. So today, when we talk about the Cutlass Dash Displacement, we'll talk about why the need for the Cutlass Dash Displacement. We'll talk about how it relates to electric vehicles and why this would be a good technique to utilize on an electric vehicle. We'll talk about different vehicle components, the dash bar specifically where we're pushing off of when we utilize this technique. And then we'll go through a step-by-step process on how to accomplish this technique, along with showing you a video for it. I will also include in the description a link to Firehouse Magazine, which has an article that we wrote dealing with the Cutlass Dash Displacement, offering another step-by-step version so that you can follow that or read that article. So the Cutlass Dash Displacement, we're starting to see ultra-high strength steel in a lot of the areas where we start to make relief cuts. In the bottom of the 8-post, in the frame rail, or the upper rail, where we make a relief cut to displace the dash. We're also starting to see that those areas are starting to get wider and wider, and it's going to take additional cuts to be able to get through that. In the picture that we have here in this PowerPoint, you can see that's the 8-post. Still has the door attached, but that's a very, very wide or very, very thick 8-post. That's going to require multiple cuts for us to be able to get through that 8-post to effectively and efficiently be able to displace that dash using the conventional dash displacements, either the dash lift or the dash roll. Now, if you add a tire in there on the other side of the 8-post, we have that to contend with as well, where we may not be able to work our cutters around that tire. And the reality of it is the days of making 1 or 2 relief cuts in that 8-post, those days are over. It's going to take us 3, 4 cuts at least to be able to get all the way through that 8-post. When we're dealing with reduced manning, most companies are not running with 5 guys on them. Most are probably not running with 4 on them. We're seeing 3, sometimes 2 guys or 2 firefighters getting off of the initial apparatus at a vehicle pin-in or vehicle extrication. So for all the things that we have to do initially, identification of the vehicle, immobilizing the vehicle, stabilizing the vehicle, and now we're asking 2 guys to start cutting, especially when time is of the essence when we're dealing with electric vehicles. This is going to be a time-consuming task to try to cut through that 8-post to be able to displace the dash. We still have to make a relief cut in the frame rail or the upper rail, or again, we're seeing that get thicker or that get wider, requiring, again, multiple cuts to be able to get through that. And then really time. Again, I can't say it enough that having to make multiple relief cuts to be able to get through that is going to be a time-consuming factor. And when we're dealing with especially electric vehicles and damage, mechanical damage post-collision to those lithium-ion batteries, the potential for them to go into thermal runaway is there. So we want to be able to make these relief cuts or displace the dash and extricate the victims as quickly and as efficiently as possible. So electric vehicles, as it relates to them, post-crash hazards associated with them. Probably the biggest post-crash hazard is going to be entrapment with auto fire. So these vehicles are getting built stronger and stronger, and the people inside the vehicles are able to withstand higher impact collisions or survive higher impact collisions. These cars are designed to where the front end or the back end of the car kind of crumples down, absorbs some of that impact or some of that energy, while the passenger compartment's built pretty rigid, pretty strong to protect the passengers inside there. So what we're seeing is that high-speed collision, a lot of damage, and possible entrapment, but survivability due to car design. And with electric vehicles, again, post-collision, mechanical damage to those batteries could cause those batteries to go into thermal runaway, and now we have entrapment with vehicle fire. So it's going to be important for us to be able to get on scene, identify that we have an electric vehicle, and then take steps to rapidly extricate these victims. And that's where the Cutlass dash displacement comes into play. We're not wasting any time making multiple relief cuts to try to free that dash or displace that dash. We can come in, get the door popped. We may not even have to take the door all the way off. We can just get it open, and now we can find our landmarks and displace that dash. And again, multiple concurrent tasks needing completion. Obviously, there's going to be multiple things going on. We need to stabilize. We need to identify, immobilize, disable the vehicle, stabilize the vehicle. All these things are needing to be completed on scene, in addition to the actual popping of the door, and then making our relief cuts, and then the displacements. And if we can start to eliminate some of those steps or eliminate some of those tasks and be just as effective, that's what we should be trying to do. So vehicle components, the dash bar, this is kind of what we're aiming for, and this is what we're going to use with our Cutlass dash displacement to be able to displace that dash. The dash bar is designed to prevent components from the engine compartment breaching the firewall and coming into the passenger compartment. It's also designed to hold components of the vehicle, so our glove box, our display, our heat controls, our air conditioning controls. The steering wheel comes off of that as well, and that's going to be up front. It's going to run from the A post to the A post and be welded in on the A post. And then you can see the center section. That center section goes down to the transmission hubs with dash tie-down straps, and that's what connects that to the floor. But this is a great point. If we can identify that we have the type of vehicle that has a dash bar, we can come in, make a Cutlass dash displacement, and effectively displace the dash. But it starts with size up. Dash bars are going to be found on unibody style vehicles. Unibody style vehicles are going to be the majority of cars out there. If you have a larger SUV, it may not have a dash bar. If you have a pickup truck, you may not have a dash bar. But unibody style vehicles are definitely going to have this dash bar. And once we size that up and we determine, hey, we have a unibody vehicle, this can be a pretty good plan A to displace that dash. Like with every technique, we need to have a plan B. When you're doing a dash lift, yes, we're lifting the bottom part of the A post, but really what's displacing that steering column and that dash is the lift underneath the dash bar. The dash bar is being raised up anyways. The same thing when we do the dash roll. This is getting pushed by pushing on the A post and causing that to roll away from the passenger. So we're utilizing some of the same desired outcomes of the dash lift and the dash roll. We're just doing it without making any relief cuts. But a plan B is important. If we can't access that dash bar, or for some reason we push through the rocker channel, we haven't cribbed appropriately, then we need to be able to transition into the dash roll or the dash lift. So have those in the back of your mind as a plan B, just like with every single technique that we have. So our step-by-step process for completing the Cutlass dash displacement starts with our size up. We identify that we have a unibody style vehicle and that we have entrapment that needs dash displacement. We can remove the door, we can pop it open, or we can pop it open and take it off of the A post. We have the choice there. The next thing we want to do is locate the rocker channel. Once we locate the rocker channel, we want to get all the plastic off of that rocker channel. Taking the plastic off is going to allow the tips of our spreaders to really bite down on that material. And what you'll notice on the rocker channel is there's going to be a little bit of a lip. That lip is a weld. If we can get one tip of the spreaders on that lip, that's going to be a stronger point for us to be able to start to push off of. After we get that plastic removed, we'll get our cribbing set underneath because we want to create a load path as we push down on that rocker channel. We want that force to be captured by the cribbing and then ultimately distributed into the ground. So we get our cribbing in place. And the next thing we do is we're going to place one tip of our spreaders onto the lip on the rocker channel. The other tip of our spreader is going to ride up the inside portion of the A-post. It's somewhat of a blind insertion as we're scraping up the inside part of that A-post. And then dash tie-down straps, that's this picture here. Those can kind of hinder our lift. They're going to hinder our lift regardless if we're using the Cutlass dash displacement or the more traditional dash lifts and dash rolls, because they take that dash bar and they connect it down to the floor of the vehicle. It's going to be found on both sides of the transmission hubs. It's a connection point for the dash bar, and what it does is it causes our lift to kind of go this way instead of that full lift upwards. But again, regardless if you're doing the Cutlass dash displacement, the dash lift, or the dash roll, those may hinder you. So one of the things that we can do is we can remove the plastic around there. We can get in there with a Sawzall, an angle grinder, an Ajax tool, our cutters if we have enough room, and we can simply cut those free. Once we cut those free, we'll get a full lift of that dash and be able to push that dash completely out the window. So if we see here, just on this video, what you can notice is that the A-post is pretty wide. And that A-post, even though we have some natural openings there, it's going to take us at least 3 cuts to be able to get all the way through. 3 to 4 cuts to get all the way through. The upper rail of the frame rail is not that thick, but still another 2 to 3 cuts to get through that. So at a minimum, we're looking at 6 to 7 cuts to be able to get through both the A-post and the frame rail to be able to do our dash displacement. So taking a look here at the video, just looking at those, sizing up those parts, we also identify, hey, we've got a unibody style vehicle here. Now we come around to the other side, we remove that plastic, we get one tip on the rocker channel, the other tip rides up the inside part of the A-post. We get onto that dash bar, we grab it, and what you're going to see is a pop here. Now we freed that dash bar, and we start to get lift and displacement of that steering column up and away from the victim. Again, what's hindering the full movement of that dash bar is going to be the dash tie-down straps. If we need more room, we could come in there and we can cut those dash tie-down straps. But typically when we're doing a dash displacement, we're talking about inches, not feet. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video or this training video. Again, we're going to try to post more of these types of videos to YouTube discussing different techniques, different vehicle technology, and also electric vehicle training. We're trying to do about one every 2 weeks or so, especially over the winter, talking about these things. If you like this video, please subscribe to our channel so that you get all the updates on our latest videos. Thank you and stay safe.